You mentioned that the importance of having debate in government and in the legislatures and having difference of opinions. But now, what's recently been going on is that everybody's talking about is this bill C-36 that is banning hate speech. How do you think that can affect the conditions in which politicians are going to speak and you know the way they are going to phrase their things and the way their opinions are going to be swayed based on this bill?
Okay, so this is something we have to remember about politicians. Politicians aren't completely 110%, not under the same rules as everybody else, but they do have a lot more leniency when they're in the House.
Okay.
So when they're in the House, they can talk however the hell they want. And they're going to talk however the hell they want. And that's good. So Bill C-36 is not going to really affect what's happening in the House. It's going to be what happens outside the House. What do they say on social media? What are they willing to post? Who are they willing to talk to? And that's going to become a big concern, because what we're actually doing with Bill C-36 is we're going to create more insular politicians that are less likely to connect with their community because their community has what is defined as radical views, and they're going to actually be more insular to whatever the party's telling them, because they'll be afraid of associating with anyone that has hate speech, whatever that gets defined as. So it's a scary bill.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is the Liberals have the support of the NDP. It doesn't matter how loud we are, how frustrated we are, how angry we are. The likelihood it's going to pass is pretty high. And all we can do is just practice noncompliance. Who cares? Let them pass it. I don't care. I'm not going to change how I talk. I'm not going to live in fear of what they do, because I know it's wrong. I know it's unjust. I know it contradicts our human rights, especially with just how we should have our speech unfiltered by and large. So let them. I'm not going to be afraid. Make some noise with your senators. Make some noise with your MPs. Make sure that you're not invisible, but don't think that Bill C-36 passes and you're immediately going to start filtering yourself. Because a bill is only as powerful as if they can enforce it. And if enough people are willing to say, screw you, you'll see how quickly that bill ends up disappearing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, non-compliance is the only thing that's ever really worked with these things, because then it's not enforced, it's not used, nobody does it, so it's like, who cares if it's there, right? Yep. And that's what we have to practice, and that's what's worked in terms of like even mandating the third shot. It was never mandated, at least not yet, because not enough people have taken it.
Yep.
And people were just kind of like, no, this is where I draw the line, and this is why it hasn't been mandated. It hasn't been pushed yet.
Yeah.
Of course, that's probably something that's coming up in the future. We don't know. It's all speculation, but. At the moment, that is something that's worked, and it's just because people were non-compliant about it. Now, same thing with this bill. It's like, fuck it, pass it, and see what happens. Like,
yeah, basically, like that's how government has always operated. It's let's push a little here, see how society responds. If society responds well, then we're going to push a little more and see how society responds. Oh, they get resistant. Okay, we're going to move back a little bit. Wait a year, wait a couple months, and then we're going to push a little harder again. Like, they obviously have their agendas and they want to keep growing their power. That's what government has been doing since the beginning. Why do you think there's revolutions eventually at some point? Because the government has gained too much power and they want to basically hit the reset button. It doesn't mean we can't hit the reset button politically. It's just, if you want to get there, you have to first start at where you're locally at. Start with your community, start with your family, have these conversations, and keep pushing back no matter what. As soon as we stop pushing back, especially right now with what we're seeing with the mandates lifting and all this sort of stuff, our silence and our compliance and our going to restaurants and living a normal life and seeming like everything is normal is just opening the door for them to just push a little bit harder when, everyone's done the summer term. Like, we saw this already, 3 times? At least 2 times.
At least 2 times.
And I don't know why people are convinced that there's something different today.